Hey, welcome to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I'm going to talk about telling your kids not to throw the ball.
So the big question is this: how are parents like us, who don't have a manual, who are doing the best we can, who feel as though we aren't enough, how are we going to raise healthy, happy children who we are proud of and still keep our sanity in that process? That's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Ryan Roy, and welcome to I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, a podcast for parents who are being real with themselves.
Hello, and welcome back to this episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting, where today I want to talk about telling your kids not to throw the ball. See, my 17-month-old child we were told at the daycare 3 or 4 months ago, they said he's really got an arm on him. He really likes to throw things, and we thought it was cute. And it is kind of cute. And as a dad, right, who has played sports and enjoys sports, and as I mentioned possibly in another podcast, where although he's athletic, he doesn't take a huge interest in it. He just likes to play, and there's nothing he's really gravitated towards. So to watch my 17-month-old at this point, this has been happening about 2 months now. Not only does he like to throw, he's actually accurate. Not only does he like to throw, but he'll throw anything, and it just goes where he directs it. And how do I know? Because I give him a target. Now, here's the challenge in this. Because my wife, love her dearly, doesn't like that he throws things. Like, he shouldn't be throwing. And I have a slightly different perspective. I don't know, and trust me, moms listening or dads out there, I have no desire for my kids to pursue things that I think they should be doing. I just want them to do whatever it is that they love doing. So I think it's my job, or our job as parents, to really empower them to do the things that they enjoy doing, even if it's throwing. So as my wife likes to say, don't throw that, don't do that. My perspective, and we'll get to this towards the end, is that I shouldn't tell him not to do something he enjoys doing, number one. What I should do is give him direction on how to do it. What do I mean by that? Give him a target. Now, she doesn't like that he's throwing things and throwing blocks. So the new rule is that he can throw balls, and he can throw them at a target, somebody who's willing to catch it. Because while she's been telling him no, I'll admit it, this is not good parenting 101, but that's the name of this podcast. I don't know jack about parenting, and some of my wife's beliefs I don't necessarily agree with, and some of my beliefs she doesn't agree with. I believe that a little boy who wants to throw a ball, or a little girl for that matter, they want to throw a ball, let them throw the ball. See, I don't know if he's going to grow up to be a baseball star, or and maybe get a college scholarship because he's got a strong arm. I have no clue. But I know this, that if I don't allow him to do these things, guess what? I will never know if he realizes his potential in that area, because I have stifled him. Don't do this. Don't do that. How about I just tell him to do it in a way that's safe? And the thought comes to mind of this, and I don't know where it is, as an entrepreneur and somebody who studies successful people. Picture this. And this is not the artist, but this is the example I'm going to give. Picture Michelangelo. And picture that this is the guy who painted the Sistine Chapel. Imagine him as a little child, and the parents saying to him, hey, don't paint on the walls. Why did you get up and paint on the ceiling? You can't do that. Do you think he would have ever done that? Now, I don't know where I read this particular scenario, but there was an artist, another famous artist, don't know who it is, but this is the scenario. They asked him where he got all of his inspiration and influence. He said, I don't know, I've just always drawn as far back as I can remember. And they said, well, what do you mean you've always done this? He says, yeah, my parents as a child, I used to draw on the walls in my bedroom, and my walls from wall to ceiling was covered in my art. And when the walls got filled, they bought me more canvas, and they bought me more markers and more paint and more colored pencils. And when I think of that, I think to myself, why would I tell my kids not to do something they enjoy? They say that it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. And this is where my brain goes when I think about how I want to empower my kids. They say it takes 10,000 hours to be an expert at something. If that's the average work week at 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, that's 2,000 hours a year. So it takes 5 years to reach your 10,000 hours to become proficient or an expert at something. Imagine if your children can get their 10,000 hours in something they enjoy and love and just want to pour their heart into before they're even teenagers. Think of Olympic athletes such as Simone Biles, who went on to win Olympic gold for us at age of 14 or 15. I know she wasn't 16. And she's the best in the world at what she did. And you say, yeah, well, she's a gym rat. Well, here's the thing. She was encouraged by her parents. She was supported by her parents. And some people would say, yeah, well, they had the money. If you listen to her story, her parents sacrificed everything when they had very little in order for her to pursue her dream. And here she is, the best in the world at what she does. See, I don't expect my son to go on and be a Major League Baseball player. I don't expect him to go on and be an athlete. What I expect of myself is this. And I hope that you expect this of yourselves as parents, if you're listening to this. I expect that whatever they're good at, no matter what it is, give them a target as opposed to tell them not to do what it is. If your kids paint on the walls and you're just not interested in your kids painting on the walls, buy them a canvas. If your kids are interested in iPads and computers, and you could just see their mind thinking, buy them apps or download apps that will encourage whatever it is that they're interested in. If you find your kids playing and taking things apart, buy them science kits. If you find that your kid is always picking up a book no matter where he goes, make sure he has a library or she has a library of books. If your daughters like to dress up dolls, get them magazines. Get them, fashion magazines to look at. Let them do their ideas. Let them get them sketch pads for them to design clothes. Encourage whatever it is that they are good at. I really am the only athlete that came out of my family, and I am the baby of 5. So when it got to me playing sports, my mom was probably, where is this kid come from? But what did she do? She bought me the cleats. She bought me the mouth guards. She made sure that I was enrolled in the sports that I wanted to play. When I wanted to go out and throw the football till the sun was going down, and I used to get to school 2 hours early so that we could play football in the playground at school, as a bunch of us did this, it was encouraged to do that. Walk into school all sweaty. But it was encouraged to do that. And unbeknownst to me, without any desire to, didn't even think this. I was just having fun, accepted an athletic scholarship to college. So encourage your kids in whatever it is that they're doing. Because you never know what it's going to turn into. And that encouragement leads to success. And that success leads to bigger success. And I don't know about you, and I don't know jack about parenting, but however my kids decide to define success for themselves in the future is what I want for them. And it all starts with encouraging them, with simply throwing the ball when it doesn't necessarily always feel right. Why does it not feel right? Because he hits his brother in the face with Matchbox cars. So how do we deal with this? So I'll get into that really quickly. As I said, give them a target and don't discourage it. What they did say is, as I Googled this, I Google everything, guys. It's one of my podcasts earlier is Google it. If you don't know it, Google it. I said, hey, 17-month-old is throwing. What do you do to reprimand a 17-month-old? We never hit our first child. We're not going to hit our second child. Our first child never threw things at people. We didn't have to deal with that. But what they said is give him a timeout of no more than 60 seconds. He doesn't understand. Do it immediately. Tell him that's not the thing to do, but hand him a ball. If he's going to throw it, he could throw a ball to mom or dad or his brother, but he can't throw cars. He can't throw wooden blocks. He can't throw just anything. He can throw soft balls in the house to somebody. And every time he throws something other than that, we put him in timeout. And it seems to be working thus far. So we still encourage him to throw. We just encourage him to throw the right things to the right people or the right targets. We'll see you in the next episode of I Don't Know Jack About Parenting.
Do you want to be the dad you wish you had? If so, go get my free book, Be the Dad You Wish You Had, at BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com. Inside, you'll find my most effective 40 tips to quickly and easily transform yourself into the ideal dad. Go to BeTheDadYouWishYouHad.com now and get it while it's free.